From schooly blackfins to giant yellowfins and massive bluefins, these fish test your gear and your grit.
Yep, when speed, power, and big runs are on the menu, it's sushi time. So get ready to chunk, troll, and fight hard. We're diving into the tuna bite on the Florida Insider Fishing Report now.
Welcome to the Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hello and welcome back for another week on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. But Rick, it's not just any week. We are surrounded by the best studio audience. We've got Curry Middle School Fishing Club, Columbus Fishing Club, a few guests from ACR to talk about National Safe Boating Week coming up. Plus, Rick, we've got some tuna talking to do.
And you know what? I certainly know that tuna, sushi in your mouth, is something that you look forward to every time we go fishing. So we always, offshore, try to accommodate you.
Thank you.
But you know what? We need to accommodate Mr. Dave over at the Workbench, don't you think?
We do. Before we see who our first captain is, let's see what Dave's talking about at the CCA Workbench.
Well, I'm stealing money again. I really don't have to do much. We're going to have the ACR guys out here telling us how to keep safe on the water, and hopefully you guys will heed their warnings.
Hopefully. All right, well, first step in the tuna tower today is our Making Memories man, Captain Jim Ross, reporting from the Central East region. Give us the good stuff, Jim.
Well, first of all, I want to say hey to everybody who's come into the show tonight, and a big yay to my Central East fans that are out there in the studio audience tonight. But I tell you what, I'm going to concentrate on yellowfin tuna action in my region this week because I talked with John Sorensen of Cocoa Beach, and he gave me some really great pointers to share with all of you guys and gals. John said he runs about 5 lines for his yellowfin, and he pulls wide tracker 18-inch spreader bars on electric reels that he puts about midship on his boat in the rod holders to keep them outside of his wake for a wider spread behind his boat. It gives for a bigger presentation. Now, down the middle, John likes to run naked skin, chin-weighted ballyhoo, a blue islander on the long line, and he's always got that Old Faithful cedar plug somewhere on that third line. And he says, if the fish show a preference, you want to try and switch over to whatever it is that they're picking out of the spread. He also recommends going straight to the first temperature break when you're running offshore. So like a Ross report or a satellite service like SiriusXM is a great way to start your search. It keeps you from running all through, half of a tank of gas just to try and find that for yourself. You can go straight to those points. Now, he says most of the time this is about 70 to 85 miles offshore of our region right now. It will change throughout the year, though. And most of the yellowfin in my region have been running about 30 to 45 pounds, but there are a few tuna that are over 100 that have come to the docks here recently, especially in the Eddie Dwyer Other Side tournament a few weeks ago. So my first picture here is of Jonathan Sorensen and his buddy John Lau with a nice pair of yellowfin tuna that they had. And then the second picture, John was kind enough to put that wide tracker spreader bar down on his garage floor and take a picture of it so that you guys and gals could see what it was that I'm talking about that he runs on those electric reels. And that last bait back there is a different color, as you can see, and it also has a hook in it so you can catch fish on that rig as well.
Thank you for that
Now,
picture,
the other thing
John.
I got was offshore. Anglers are slow trolling live bait for dolphin right now. We're getting them in there with the king mackerel. They're kind of in tight, 5 to 85 feet. And Garen Malin said he's on the charter boat, the Sea Venture, out of Sunrise Marina. He said that those live pogies are really the ticket right now to get those dolphin. He said they are gobbling them up. He said most of the dolphin are running anywhere from about 5 to 14 pounds, and he's got a picture here of a mixed group of dolphin and kingfish that they caught here recently.
Nice.
Now, swinging inshore, Jack Crevalle, schools of big jacks are starting to show up throughout the entire part of the region right now, especially in the southern part. And you want to look for those things terrorizing the mullet pods as they race up and down the Indian River and Banana River lagoons. They're eating whatever gets in their way. And so a large jig or a big plug that imitates a mullet or a greenie can be a really great thing to throw out there. And you can hook into one of those big powerhouse jacks. Now, boaters should try to stay in front of these fast-moving fish because they're cruising along at 15, sometimes 20 mile an hour as they're racing down the lagoon system to feed. So you want to swing way out in front of them. And most of those jacks are running 10 to 20 pounds on average right now. Got a picture here Captain Glenn Austin sent me of his grandson Noah with one of those big jacks they caught the other day. And then my last species for the night is snook. And everybody knows how good the snook fishing has been throughout the entire region for basically all year. But the inlets right now are doing really the best. So daytime anglers want to use live baits. Nighttime anglers want to try artificial lures, especially around those shadow lines. Those big fish right now are, most of those fish are going to be all way over the slot limit. And those big fish are cruising to those jetties because they're going to start their spawning in the next couple of days here, or even on the next moon. So get out to those jetties, make sure the tide's moving, and have yourself a blast. And I've got a picture here of one of my clients, and we caught one of these nice big snook the other day.
You sure did. All right, thank you for starting us off, Jimmy. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Rodan Marine System hotspots from the Central West region. Jim says that the nighttime snook action at the North and South Causeway bridges in New Smyrna is going to work. Try using flare hawks, lip diving plugs, or a live shrimp near the pylons and those shadow lines. And then offshore, the lane snappers outside of Ponce Inlet. Use cut sardines on a chicken rig near the reef in 80 to 130 feet of water.
Love to see all those kids catching them fish. All right, we're all about the sunrise and sunset surface sessions in the Alto Equipment East region. So let's check in with Ed Zyak, who's filling in for Mike Holliday this week. Thanks for helping us out, Ed, and it's great to have you back.
Absolutely. Always love jumping in. We're going to talk about tuna in my region. So those tuna have those big old eyes. They are most active on the surface early and late in the day. There's been a spectacular blackfin tuna bite in 150 to 250 feet of water off the breakers in Palm Beach, and also on Push Button Hill here in Stewart, my neck of the woods. We also get a few yellowfin tuna pushing through the region this time of year. In fact, there was a nice yellowfin caught off of Delray Beach this last weekend. But most anglers that are targeting the yellowfin are going to head over to the Bahamas, off the West End or up north off Matanilla Shoals to an area known as the Pocket. And once you get there, it's all about the birds. Find the birds, find the fish. The guys are pulling naked ballyhoo, cedar plugs, or big purple diving plugs. For the blackfins, you can do well trolling ballyhoo or feathers, but honestly, the best action comes from drifting with baits out on kites, or my favorite is live chumming during low light. Super exciting. In the middle of the day, if you mark them on your machine, you can drop down jigging spoons and sometimes get a bite as well. The average yellowfin is 40 to 60 pounds, while the average blackfin is going to be 10 to 25 pounds. My first photo is my buddy Captain Scott Fawcett. He got this big yellowfin fishing over in the corner, and that fish ate a trolled ballyhoo.
Nice. All right, go ahead.
Have another pick closer to home. This was a midday jig bite off of Push Button Hill. This is Salty Days Charter out of Port St. Lucie.
Nice.
Also happening now, coming off this full moon, the daytime kingfish bite has picked up again in 70 to 90 feet of water off of Lake Worth, and also in places like the ledge off of Jupiter, the Loran Ledge, 6 Mile Reef, and the Offshore Bar. On the west winds, you can find some big smokers right up on the beach off of Peck's Lake or Vero Cove. Drift or slow troll live Spanish sardines, redfins, pilchards, goggle eyes, either on a number 4 wire stinger rig or a triple hook mono rig. For the big fish on the beach, everything from live mullet or a blue runner to 1 pound bluefish or ladyfish will get bit. The average kingfish is 10 to 20 pounds. I just want to quick mention that the CCA Florida Star Tournament runs from May 24th through September 1st, and it includes not only king mackerel, but also Cero and Spanish mackerel in the offshore division. So if you want more information on that, go to ccaflstar.com, find out all that good info.
All right, tell us about the inshore quickly.
Yeah, inshore, it's mid-May, so that means the snook are really feeding heavily, getting ready for the spawn. The mullet, sand perch are schooling up in the rivers, and that's got them really chewing on the shorelines of the Ermine, Loxahatchee, St. Lucie rivers. And if you're looking to join the Big Fish Club, check out Taylor Creek in the Turning Basin in Fort Pierce. Got some really big fish in there right now. They're going to start moving to the inlets probably on the next moon. In the river, you want to start your day throwing topwater plugs, dye dappers, or wake baits on seawalls and shorelines, and then move to live bait. Mullet, pilchard, thread fins are going to get bit as the day goes on. Average snook is 6 to 12 pounds. First pick here is Captain Cody Rubner of Stewart. And this is Rachel from Massachusetts with a nice snook she caught on a thread fin.
All right, tell me about the sea trout.
Sea trout, that's my very favorite species. There's been some really nice ones caught this week in the Indian River, St. Lucie County, Indian River counties. The big fish are really focused on bait fish. Pinfish, sand perch, and pilchards are going to get bit. But you can also get them to hit larger jerkbaits like a saltwater assassin shad, and that drunk monkey color is really good, or a natural pilchard looking color is great. There's also been a lot of school trout around the power lines, Middle Cove, Savannah Road, Torpy Road. The school fish will eat soft plastics like a Houdini or New Penny, and that 4-inch sea shad is great, top water plugs, and of course live shrimp. The average sea trout is 1 to 3 pounds, but there's been some fish over 8 pounds caught this week. This pick is a good buddy of mine, Captain Mark Drabo. He's notorious for catching big trout. He likes to target them before dawn, right in Fort Pierce there, using live sand perch.
Quickly on the bass, Eddie.
Yes, sir. Lake Okeechobee has really dropped. So it's down to 11 feet. And of course, that concentrates everybody into a tight little zip code. So there have really been fish in the deeper canals around the lake. I was talking to Captain Nate Schellen of OkeechobeeBassFishing.com. And he was saying there's a great bite in the Kissimmee River, J&S Canal, Indian Prairie Canal, and even Harney Pond Canal. On the southern end of the lake, the Sportsman's Canal, 7 Mile Ditch, Dynamite Holes are producing good fish on Texas or Carolina rigged June bug colored worms. In the lake itself, the outside grass lines have been working for guys tossing white spinner baits with gold willow leaf blades, shad colored bass assassin tap out worms, and top water plugs. And I guess they're catching some numbers. It's 20 fish mornings with the average bass 1 to 3 pounds and some fish over 6 pounds this week.
All right, thank you for filling in, Eddie. You did a wonderful job. We'll have to have you back more often, but I got to go ahead and get to the TH Marine hotspots from the East region. Eddie says the snook on the seawalls in the Lockahachie River dawned by throwing large topwater plugs or live mullet, and then offshore kingfish on the Loran ledge off of Jupiter, live threadfin, sardines, pilchards on a triple hook monofilament rig, Bree.
That's quite the photo we have for Mr. Ed Zayak. Oof. All right, the ACR Rigs and Techniques at the CCA Workbench is coming up next with Dave Farrell. So Dave, give us a little safety briefing preview over there.
Well, we got all kinds of really cool stuff. Technology's come a long way, and we're going to get a good education in this upcoming technology.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. And then we're getting dialed in on the tuna bite in the Black Oak LEDs Keys region with Captain Ridge Murphy. So stay hooked. We'll be back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Fenwick. Feel everything. ACR. Less search, more rescue. Scientific Anglers. Failure is not an option. Penn. Let the battle begin. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. And Daiquiri Deck. Food, drinks, friends.
So as you can see, we're here at the CCA Workbench, and it's time for the ACR Rigs and Techniques. Thank you so much for sponsoring this particular segment this week. ACR certainly is going to help us with National Boating Safe Week. So
yes,
certainly we're going to have a ditch bag. This is a great one. What are we going to put in it,
So
Mikkel?
the most important thing for all boaters really should start with an EPIRB, right? The Coast Guard requirements, they're great for keeping you afloat, keeping you compliant, but you need something that's going to let you know, let Coast Guard know who you are, where you are, and that you need help quickly.
Right.
And that's what an EPIRB does. So they come either a manual activation or an auto activation, but they will give you your precise location to within 10 meters, within 3 minutes, anywhere in the world.
So how do we know that they've received a signal?
So EPIRBs and they're mostly one-way devices. They're just letting everyone know where you are. But the newer EPIRBs have what's called return link service that Coast Guard and Search and Rescue will interrogate the beacon back, and all the red and green flashing lights will all of a sudden turn blue.
Oh,
so once they're blue, that's where your hope comes in.
Yeah, you know that they've got you.
Exactly.
Now, Mikkel, what happens if you're a land fisherman? A lot of guys use airboats. A lot of guys fish off the land or little boats.
Yep.
So what do you think?
So this is a personal locator beacon. It's the same technology in an EPIRB, just slightly smaller. It's perfect for boaters, especially if you're boating by yourself. You want something in your life jacket, in your pocket. But if you're airboating, hunting, hiking, anything like that, personal locator beacons are perfect. You know, again, that one-way signal to the satellites. But the other nice thing with EPIRBs and PLBs, no subscription fees, right?
Nice.
Because you're using
Nice.
search and rescue satellites.
Nice. All right, so what about if you want to talk to somebody?
Correct. So what we have is, you know, we talked about these are one-way devices. The Bivy Stick is a two-way device. It's for short burst data, text messaging tracking. You can pull data anywhere. And so this is using the Iridium satellite. So there is a monthly subscription fee, but it does allow you, especially with the SOS button, to have that two-way dialogue, even if it's with search and rescue.
And it'll work anywhere in the world as well.
Anywhere in the world.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
All right, so what about flares? You know, they're cumbersome and they expire.
And they can explode.
Yes, they can.
So there's a lot of those are great negatives. What a lot of people don't know is electronic flares are actually an approved substitute for the pyrotechnic flares. They come with a daytime distress flag, and these are the nighttime visuals. So you can actually get rid of those dangerous pyrotechnics.
It's like a
No, I'm
disco.
not trying to turn it on. I was trying to show the batteries, but I don't want to do this.
Real quick, user replaceable batteries. You know, and with anything that's got a user replaceable battery, we recommend during National State Boating Week. This is a good time. Pop fresh ones in.
Now, you never know when your boat's going to go down or your plane's going to go down, the crap's going to hit the fan.
Yep.
Here's what I'm going to say. What about nighttime stuff?
Nighttime, every life jacket should have a strobe light on it.
Right.
You know, you're not going to be seen at night without a strobe light. EPIRBs, PLBs, they all have strobe lights in them, which are great, but this is really going to illuminate yourself, especially if there's multiple people in the water. You can't have a life jacket without one.
You did a great job. Here's what I want to ask you. If you want to know more information about all the products that we make here, this is just a few, where do we go?
Go check out acrelectronics.com. You can find everything you need right there.
Guys, tell them Rick sent you and Dave. Thank you so much. Bree, where are we going
Good
next?
job. All right, the Black Oak LEDs Keys region is definitely not picky when it comes to the sushi. So let's see what Captain Ridge Murphy is putting on our plates this weekend. Hello, Ridge.
You know, here in the Black Oak LED region, tunas come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. From football-sized blackfin tunas on vertical jigs to the occasional yellowfin tuna or even the bluefin in the spring months on the kites. Springtime and early summer is the most common time of year to catch tunas, mostly blackfins, ranging from 8-pound footballs all the way to 30-pound meatballs. Tuna is definitely one of the favorites down here in the Keys, and guys will chum for them with live filtered or dead bait drifting on the humps or anchoring, or bump trolling on the larger wrecks. You can also kite fish with a big spread if the wind allows you to, and scale baits like thread fins, pilchards, and sardines are candy for tunas. You're going to use a 30 to 50-pound fluorocarbon leader with an offset eagle claw circle hook, and sharks are a problem, so make sure you're using short little pumps and keep the handle turning. I have a classic photo, Alamorada charter boat photo sent in by my buddy Captain Sammy Malazzo, showing off a bunch of nice tunas that they got on their charter off the Vice Versa at a Worldwide Sportsman. Also, I got a nice tuna caught by my buddy Blake Lofton out of Key Largo with his dad, Captain Moss Lofton.
All right, little Blake, hanging in there, man. All right, let's go. What else you
man,
got
he's pulling
offshore?
on him.
Yeah, man, let's go.
I
Yellowtail.
spoke to Captain Justin Miller off the Real McCoy out of Bud and Mary's, and he says the snapper fishing is on fire on the edge of the reef. Yellowtails from 60 to 90 feet of water, anchor up, drifting a chum bag back behind the boat, freelining small chunks of ballyhoo, cut bonita, or chunks of shrimp on an eagle claw hook, light little hook, or light little yellowtail jigs. If you're thinking about venturing further offshore, the mutton snappers from 90 to 200 feet of water have been good on the live bottom, drifting baits on the bottom with a long 30 to 50-pound fluorocarbon leader with ballyhoo plugs, live filters, or cigar minnows. Use an eagle claw 5.0 to 8.0 hook, circle hook on your pen, rod, and reel combo. And I have another photo sent in by Justin Miller off the Real McCoy with some nice mutton snappers and some yellowtails that they caught out of Bud and Mary's Marina.
All right, let's go about bonefish.
The bone fishing all up and down the Keys has been really good. I got a report from Captain Rick Murphy, and he says that the bone fishing in Key Largo was on fire. All up and down the Keys, look for bonefish on the tops of the flats, mudding and waking, and you're going to use a 7-foot 6-inch medium-fast Finwick spinning rod with a 2500 to 4000 pen spinning reel. Use 10 to 12 pound mono on an eagle claw shrimp hook with a small split shot. You can also use pink or tan bucktail jigs or throw flies to these fish. And I have a photo sent in by Captain Rick Murphy of Tom Blockard, one of his good clients, with one of 10 bonefish that they caught the other day breaking in the new 21 Chidam.
Nice. Yeah. All right, what else we got this week, bub?
I spoke to Captain Steven Tahara, and he says that the snook fishing in Florida Bay and the backcountry islands are pretty good. Throw Bass Assassin paddle tails in Houdini or opening night rigged on a eagle claw weedless hook, and this will allow for a soft presentation to these fish and look a lot like the mullets cruising up and down the flats. Use a Fenwick Pro Elite HMG 7-foot medium fast, and that's a good rod for sight fishing for these snooks. And I have another photo of Maria Velasquez with a nice snook that she caught with Captain Steven Tahara.
All right, bub, you did good tonight. Thank you so much. I will see you later at dinner, I hope. And it's time for the scientific angler hotspots from the Florida Keys region. Ridge says inshore, bonefish mudding and waking on the flats in the shallows. Throw light tackle spinning rods or fly rods to catch the silver bullet from Key Largo all the way to Key West. And then offshore, yellowtail snappers and muttons are biting on the edge in 60 to 90 feet of water. The yellowtails are in the shallows, and in 90 to 200 feet of water, look for those muttons along the bottom.
Look at you, giving bonefish reports and stuff.
How about that?
I love it.
You know who else got a report?
Who?
All these fine people in here.
Yes, they did.
They got it personally.
Good job.
How about
All right, let's dive on in and see what tournaments are going on in the Florida Keys.
Yes.
First up, teams compete in Key Largo's Skipper's Dolphin Tournament, May 30th through June 1st, for over $60,000 in cash prizes, including $25,000 for the team with the highest combined weight of 3 mahi-mahi. Then anglers contend for cash prizes and awards, including $10,000 for the first place boat, June 6th through the 8th at the 32nd Annual Lower Key Chamber of Commerce Dolphin Tournament. Next is the 39th Annual Father's Day Dolphin Derby, taking place June 13th for registration and fishing on June 14th in Marathon, with cash prizes awarded to the top 4 adults based on largest dolphin by weight, and rod and reel combos to the top 3 junior anglers. And last, the University of Miami Sports Hall of Fame Celebrity Fishing Tournament, set for June 19th through the 22nd in Isla Mirada, with notable sports personalities in attendance. Cash prizes are on tap for the top 3 teams catching the highest combined weight of 3 mahi-mahi. For more information on Keys tournaments, go to flakeys.com. But Rick, did you know that any offshore fish can be entered in the CCA Florida Star competition presented by Yamaha?
I did know that.
I know, that's right. Well, in the Angle Cooler Offshore Division presented by AFCO, there's nearly $60,000 in prizes, with the first place prize being a 250 Yamaha. New this year, take a picture of your catch on your measuring board with the star identifier in the photo and submit via the Star app. It is not the biggest fish that wins. Star identifiers can be picked up starting May 17th in any West Marine store, or go to the website ccaflstar.com to find a distribution location near you.
You got to be in it to win it, guys. Come on.
You do. Star begins Memorial Day weekend for 100 days of fishing, which is coming up. So stay with us, because we're trolling into the Casa Vieja Southeast region, and then the Panhandle region is serving up quite the sashimi platter with Captain Pat's Mean. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Power Pole, Total Boat Control, Berkeley, Your Fish, Our Science, Bahio, Blue Light Blocking, Radically Clear Polarized Fishing Sunglasses, Guy Harvey, every purchase helps support the health of our oceans and marine life. Penn, let the battle begin. Kubota, together we do more. And Heroes on the Water, paddle, fish, heal.
So you know, Bree, a lot of great products have been built because of guys with a lot of experience. Hal Chidam is one of those guys. He has been a fishing guide. He was also a world-class angler, still is.
Yes.
And then a tremendous boat designer. And we picked up, Ridge and I, 2 new Chidam skiffs. And I want you to take a look about that.
Let's take a look.
Good morning, boys. Morning. Rich, how you doing, my friend? How are you? Great. Good to see you.
Well,
Rid, this is your 18. It's going to be the fastest 18 anybody's ever built in a flats boat. You'll be in the mid 70s for sure. Speed is great, but you got to catch the fish when you get there. So we've done a lot of things to make that possible. We've made the hull shape very, very different so that we have reduced the pressure wave to almost zero. And you know, pressure wave just kills the fish. It just puts them down, sends them in the wrong direction. We've got a sound deadening system built in that stops any small noises that come off the hull. So we've spent as much time as we can to make this thing as fishy as possible. Okay, Dad, this is your version of our boat. This is a 21-footer. Be a little more comfortable, and especially on those long runs. And it's going to be extremely fast. With that 250 SHO Yamaha, you're going to be mid-80s. Guys, if you got to make a long run to a fishing location or on the way back home and the wind's blowing, you're going to be a lot more comfortable in this boat because we have some very, very special spray rails that really trap the water. You've seen these things in action.
Yeah.
You can drop the bow down to give you a better ride and still not take a drop of water over.
well, we're glad to be part of the team.
We are so happy to have you guys. Thank you very much. We've been planning this for 25 years.
We have. All right, Riz, let's get out of here and hook them up.
I'm excited to get it out there. It's gonna be fun.
So cute. I love it.
You know, Bree, two's better than one, so we had to have one of each side, baby.
Of course you did. Of course you did. The Murphy's going faster. Yay! All right, if you're fishing the Casa Vieja Lodge Southeast region with Captain Jimbo Thomas, you bet you'll be reeling in something yummy. Talk to us, Jimbo.
Sounds great, Bree, and hello, everybody. And Rick, I can't wait for an 80-mile-an-hour ride. Not. But, you know, two types of tuna that we catch in the Southeast region are Blackfin and Yellowfin. And unfortunately, we do not catch too many Yellowfin. And then in February and March, there's usually some bluefin tuna sightings, but they're not usually targeted, mainly because they're too big and out of season. Now, the Blackfins, they're the most common. We find them throughout the year, but basically late April through May and even into July is when we catch the most and those biggest blackfins. Now, we generally get blackfin bites throughout the day, but since these tunas are low-light feeders, early in the mornings, late in the afternoons up till dark are typically best times to target these tunas, as well as on overcast days. Now, in the past week, the blackfin tuna bite has definitely been on fire. Tunas have been anywhere from 20 to 30 pounds. They're being caught throughout the whole region. You want to fish with live baits, live herrings, pilchards, sardines, under the kite or on flat lines. You want to look for blue water anywhere in the 100 to 200 foot range. On the Thomas Flyer, we've been using 20-pound tackle, 30 to 40-pound fluoro leaders, the 5.0 to 6.0 circle hooks. And if you can catch enough bait to live chum, you can definitely get these tunas fired up. There's also been a few blackfins caught on the troll using rig baits, small feathers, and lures, but the fish on the live baits have definitely been a lot bigger, especially in the last week or two. Got a photo here. This is a nice yellowfin tuna with my wife James that was caught actually in Casa Vieja over in Guatemala. So they catch some big ones over there too.
Yes, sir.
Now, staying offshore, sailfish bite has been consistent in the past week. Sails have been coming in anywhere from 100 to 300 feet of water. They've been biting live baits, goggle eyes, herrings, pilchards, sardines. You want to fish them under the kite if you got enough wind, or you can slow troll or drift those baits. Most of the bites have been in areas with blue water and north current, although we have caught some in the last couple of days in that greener water. Also look for any free jumping sails. If you can get lined up with them, get some live baits out in their vicinity, good chance of getting a bite or even a multiple hookup. There's also have been quite a few multiple hookups in the last couple of days. Now I got another photo here.
This is a nice picture of a sail that just before we tagged and released them aboard the Thomas Flyer. Now, moving inshore, the flats on the south end of the region, they've been seeing some really good permit fishing. With the full moon that we had last Sunday, we've been experiencing some really extreme tides, both high and low. The fish have been favoring the outgoing tide. You want to look for hard bottom flats with lots of moving water, anywhere from Soldier's Key to Broad Creek. Most of the fish, they've been swimming or cruising versus tailing. And you want to use a live crab, get it put right in front of their face. Typically, you're going to get a bite. And since this is mostly sight fishing, you want to wait for that sun to come up to get some good visibility, say between 9 in the morning and 3 in the afternoon. And on an overcast day, try working over the light colored bottom. And most of the fish, they've been in the 12 to 25 pound class. And then the grass flats from Rickenbacker Causeway north to Oliver Inlet, they're still seeing some really good sea trout fishing. Best fishing has been in the 4 to 8 foot of water on flats that have good current and some bait fish activity. There have been some small schools of pilchards moving around the bay. You can find those sea trout have been following them. So look for any signs of baits flipping or any burr activity. And most of the fish, they've been in the 15 to 18 inch range with some larger ones up to about 5 pounds mixed in. Now the best baits, they've been small pilchards or pinfish. You want to fish them under a popping cork, or 3-inch gulp shrimp on a 1/4 ounce jig head has also been working. You want to fish that under a cork, or green and black colored lures. Most of these sea trout have been decent sized, and mixed in with them, there's been mangrove snappers and jack crevalles.
All right, Jimbo, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the ACR hotspots in the southeast region. Jimbo says fish the grass flats of North Biscayne Bay with live pilchards for the sea trout, mangrove snappers, and jacks, which is just what he reported. And then offshore, drift or kite fish, live baits in 90 to 300 feet of water for sailfish, kingfish, blackfin tunas, and an occasional mahi. Try a 7/0 Eagle Claw circle hook with those baits.
Look at our Lady Jane making an appearance in Casa
How
Vieja
about
with her
that?
tuna. I love it. All right, a tuna trip in the Panhandle region is still on my bucket list. And from the looks of it, someone checked it off theirs. Captain Patanine, what are we looking for this time of year?
Hey, Bree. Hey, live audience, welcome. Tuna are caught offshore in the Panhandle year-round, and our tunas range from football-sized blackfin tunas to the jumbo bluefin tunas. And the Panhandle is blessed with deep water pretty near shore, especially compared to the rest of the Gulf Coast. Making blue water fishing very popular and productive. And in fact, the tournament season is kicking off, so there's a lot of attention in the offshore waters right now. And when the tunas are targeted and caught around the spur in the DeSoto Canyon, but if you really want to target the tunas, you want to make that run to the southwest, 100+ miles to the deep water rigs, and and fish there. That's pretty much. I'm going tuna fishing. I'm going to the rig. And with the mongo of all tunas, the bluefins, they're here now. They show up late winter and hang around until early June. And they're mainly caught while live baiting for blue marlin using small blackfins for bait. Yellowfin tunas are what are primarily targeted, with spring and fall being prime time. And the popular technique is the drift and chunk, but I really prefer to slow troll live baits, blue runners being the bait of choice rigged on 50 to 80 pound leaders. And then the blackfins are commonly caught within a few miles of the beach and sometimes off the coastal piers, especially early spring. Right now, out by the fads and around the spur, yellowfin tunas are there, and the bluefins are a distinct possibility. And there's a photo I got from Captain Adam Peebles of One Shot Charters showing up a nice school of yellowfin tuna caught here off the DeSoto Canyon. And moving offshore, just like last week, the king mackerel fishing continues to produce. In spite of the rough weather, anglers getting outside the inlets are being rewarded with some good king mackerel fishing. As always, slow trolling live baits is the best way to catch them. Using a stinger rig made out of single-strand wire. The hook in the bait's nose secures the bait, but the ha-ha hook, the treble hook, attached or either free swinging towards the bait's tail is usually what gets the mackerel. Fish a couple flat lines on the surface, at least one bait, but better 2 baits on a downrigger. If you're bottom fishing, free line a bait off the stern and down current, because there are some kings around. Cigs and herrings are the baits of choice, but a bluefish or a blue runner, it can also be a really good bait. Any structure, 60, 90 feet of water, holding bait's a great place to find king mackerel right now, and the kings are running 12 to 20 pounds. There's a photo of Natalie Cox over in Pensacola. She's holding up a nice, healthy kingfish caught in the Pensacola Pass. They were slow trolling live cigar minnows.
Nice.
Moving, yeah, Rick, pretty picture right there. But moving inshore, the redfish bite's been good in the bays and passes. Beachsides has been pretty much too rough for the most part, but the weather is calming down, so that should get good again. Lucky Chucky in Santa Rosa Sound, he's been doing really well, working the docks and grass flats between the bar and Gulf Breeze. The south side around Big Sabine has also been good, and it gets you some leave from the afternoon southwesterly breezes. The live bait, either shrimp or a small finfish under a cork, the method of choice. They've also picked up some big trout lately. And don't be afraid to go very shallow. The redfish are often in inches of water. And then finally, lastly, inshore, the Spanish mackerel fishing cannon has been good throughout the panhandle, but the bite has been really good in the western portions of the region. Captain Jonathan Goodhart, he's been reporting a real steady bite in the Destin Pass with the morning incoming tide being good. Trolling small jigs and spoons, the most efficient way to catch them, but it's also it's the least amount of effort, so it's a double win right there. But casting 3 or 4 inch swimming plugs with a fast erratic retrieve or chumming with pilchards is going to generally get you the bigger fish. And some big Spanish are also being caught Gulf side by the kingfishermen. And then while the Spanish will be around all summer, they're here in good numbers right now. So get them while they're here. They're running 3 to 4 pounds for the big ones. 1 to 2 is more average.
So Pat, I got a technical question for you, Marlin specifically. So now you're able to catch those Spanish mackerels wherever they are. Are you taking any of those and brining them and saving them for the Blue Marlin trip offshore?
It's funny you ask, Rick. I've got some in the freezer right now, and we're heading up Friday morning. So with some of the Spanish that were caught here locally. So yes, the answer is absolutely.
Okay, so with that being said, you know a lot more about that than I do. How do you like to brine them?
Man, I put them straight into a slush of salt water right away. While they're still, they don't go into dry ice. They go into saltwater, salty, briny slush. And then from there, pull them out, sprinkle them and dry them and keep them overnight. But definitely they got to have that brine.
All right, so you're not putting them in a freeze bag and all that stuff and leaving them in your
eventually, yeah. After they come out of the brine, then they go in the vacuum seal bag, like the ones on the boat right now, are 2-packs and 3-packs, depending on the size of the Spanish.
See, I wanted to make sure you didn't leave me in the dark. There was a little trick to the end of that. I knew it.
Well, maybe he was trying to keep it a secret.
All right, you're trying to keep it a secret, and I just blew it. Sorry, Pat.
I didn't know how far we were going with it.
All right, man. We're not going to keep this Heroes on the Water hotspots a secret anymore. Thank you so much, Patar. Inshore, Spanish mackerels in Perdido Bay and Pensacola Pass, trolling spoons and casting jigs. And then offshore, kingfish off of Pensacola Beach, troll live baits along the entrance buoys over the nearshore structures.
How did you know that's what was going on in Pat Deneen's life?
I didn't know.
I don't even know. All right, Floridians, if you're dreaming of blue water and big game, listen up.
That's right, Bree. You know what? The 44th annual Key West Marlin Tournament is set for July 23rd through the 26th, and during the heart of the legendary Key West Hemingway Days in Key West, Florida.
Last year's tournament reeled in a whopping $268,000 in cash payouts from the Marlin and Funfish divisions.
Wow. So,
I know.
Bring your crew, bring your family. Key West is calling you. Come on, guys.
Exactly. Get all the details and lock in your spot now at keywestmarlin.com. But when we come back, we're getting into the Taco Marine new products frenzy at the CCA Workbench with Dave Farrell. Dave?
Yeah,
we got over there?
We got a lot of cool stuff to catch tuna fish, but I want to go catch that blue marlin in that tournament.
Oh,
Rick,
yeah, you do.
Rick,
Yeah, you do.
Come on, Rick.
Plus,
Okay,
we're seeing where
come on,
our
man.
species of the week is hiding in the Northeast region with Captain Tommy Derringer. So get ready to reel, and we'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Alta Equipment Company, where uptime matters. Ameritrail, load, launch, relax. Abyss Battery, power your pursuit. Rodan, set it, forget it, catch more fish. Discover Crystal River, Florida. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, best lures, period. And Black Oak LED, never be left in the dark.
Well, it's time to troll the edge with Taco Marine here at the CCA Workbench. Dave, And let's get into these new products, please.
Well, we're going to start down there with that Plano Liqua Bait Locker bottle. You know, we've been dealing with a lot of gulp lately. And I'll be honest with you, my truck doesn't smell that good because of it. You know, those little bags with the resealable thing. You know,
if you don't get it quite right,
and half the time you're in a hurry. You know, you're trying to get a new bait on and get it out there, and then that stuff leaks out. And I keep them in a plastic bag, and the plastic bag gets holes in it. So yeah, my truck started to stink really bad. My wife was giving me grief about it, and I saw these, and I said these are perfect. So now I can take all those little individual packets and just dump them in there. It's clear. You can see what the size are, what color it is, and it'll keep them fresh. And this little cap there keeps the smell and the liquid in there. It's got an O-ring in it, so can't hurt you. We've got that little set of tongs in there so you can pull them out, which one you want. And I just think it's a great little deal if you're planning on using gulps, which you know you should be, especially with all the cool shrimps and stuff they've got.
The new turbo shrimp and nemesis shrimp.
Yeah, get you one of those little liquid bait
I can
things
tell
from
you it
Plano.
doesn't stink yet.
I got you.
I got faith in you, though.
All right, planoholding.com to get one of those. Next, we have the Savage Gear Twitch Reaper Offshore. And this is we're talking about tunas a lot. This is a great tuna bait. You know, if you come upon tunas up on the surface, you could throw this thing out. It's not a topwater bait, it's a subsurface bait, but it's going to get a bite out of, schooling tunas. Really striking visual features on there, crisp erratic action when it's moving through the water. It's got all heavy duty hardware, 4X hooks on there.
Crazy.
Big hooks. This is not something you're gonna have to, put new hooks on, because this will handle a 150-pound tuna fish. They don't give up. So you need something with hardware like that isn't gonna pull apart. And it's through line construction as well. They come in a 4-ounce, a 4.5 ounce, 9 different colors. And,
9 different colors.
Yeah, savagegear.com to get that. And it's a great bait if you're wanting to throw offshore at big fish.
One other thing I'm going to add is it comes also in different sink rates. It comes in a slow sink, as you see here.
Right.
And then it comes in a fast sink, as you see here. So a little different weight, but it'll allow you to bump troll them if you wish.
Right.
Or
and they got that
them.
UV glow on there too. This little dolphin one, I imagine anything.
Mahi.
You could probably catch a blue marlin on that thing.
Of course you could.
Next, we have the Trocar TK8 Heavy Duty Extreme Live Bait Hook. When you're talking about tunas, and you're going to feed a live bait out to them, you can't use a real thin wire hook because tunas just don't give up. My favorite tuna is about a 30-pounder on an 80 wide that I can skip to the boat real easily. But if you're not going to be doing that, you're pitching live baits to them, you're going to need something that's going to be able to hold on to that big tuna fish for a long time, because it's going to take a while.
Right.
If you're on 30-pound test line and you hook a 80 to 100-pound tuna fish, you're going to be in them for an hour probably. Yeah. And you can't have hooks that are going to straighten out. And these are, the toughest, made for the toughest, hardest fighting fish, really heavy gauge wire. But because you have that Trocar triple-sided, point, it cuts right through it. And so you still, even though you've got that really heavy wire, you got excellent penetration, which is what you need to have. 4 little tiny number 4s, all the way up to a 9/0, 12 different sizes. And they're made in Denver, Colorado.
TK8.
Yep, the TK8 live bait, heavy duty, extreme live bait hook. You got to get one of those.
Speaking of heavy duty.
Next, we have these Mangrove Products trash bags. These are really cool products from Mangrove Products. They make quite a few little things, transom savers and whatnot. But this is their garbage bag. It's a great big bag. You can either attach it from the top half or the bottom half or both.
Right.
They've tested it up to 80 miles an hour. So they're secure system, so it won't be blown away. It's a nice top hat. Yeah, that's a good look for you.
Good, my cat in a hat.
Yeah, and they come some with mesh in them, or you can get the full, upgraded 9,000 Oxford cloth there. It's they got a really wide mouth that can close with a drawstring, so you don't have to worry about all the stuff blowing out, once you get going. And just a really nice garbage can, and if everybody used these, we wouldn't have so much stuff floating around in the water.
Where do we go to find it, Dave?
You go to mangroveproducts.com to get those.
Sure beats a 5-gallon bucket, and as you're running,
exactly, everything flies out. This thing keeps your garbage where it needs to be in one place.
Good job. I'm glad to see that you did earn your money over here
A
tonight?
little bit.
Yes, you did. You did a wonderful
I got
job.
half my
And
money.
in a pinch, it's a hat. As
That's it.
Rick
Cat in a
showed
hat.
us. Cat in a hat. All right, it's Yamaha's Ride the Wave sales event from now until May 21st, which is this week. If you purchase a new eligible Yamaha 450 to 30 HP outboard, get up to 7 years of warranty protection. And if you purchase a new Yamaha 25 to 2.5 HP outboard, you'll receive up to $500 in dealer credits. Visit your local Yamaha dealer today. Well, the Northeast region has tuna fishing galore, and Captain Tommy Derringer has just the info you're going to need to find him. Hello, Tommy.
Hey, Bree, Rick, Dave, studio audience. Hope everybody's doing good. Yeah, man, we have a great tuna fishery here in the Northeast region. And the better tuna fishing, it's typically when the water is a little bit cooler, usually from about December through about the end of May. And then we have another little run of tuna heading into the fall as well. Now, most Northeast Florida anglers are going to target those blackfin tuna right on the ledge in about 180 to 200 feet of water. Now, our blackfin tunas tend to be a structure-oriented fish, so you're going to want to look for any structures, but especially those structures that are holding some bait. Most anglers are going to pull cedar plugs and something like blue and white, or ballyhoos rigged with maybe a sea witch or a variety of other lures. Now, I spoke to Captain Adam Jeffrey from Real Dream Charters. He tells me the yellowfin tuna bite has been wide open this year, and I've seen some pictures to prove that. It has been good. Adam said he's fishing the east side of the Gulf Stream. He's going way out, and he's looking for warm water eddies or backflows. Now, those areas typically hold the bait, and in turn are going to hold the tuna fish. Now, Adam said most of the time the yellowfins are going to be on the warm side of the edge, but really the birds are the dead giveaway of where those fish are hanging out. Adam said he finds the birds on the radar, then gets way out in front of the birds and puts out his spread. He's trolling daisy chains, diving plugs, and some ballyhoos as well, especially if there's some mahis out there. Adam said that they've had their 6-man limit of yellowfin tunas on all of his recent tuna trips. And I've got a photo here. These are some pretty happy dudes with some big old yellowfins that they caught with Adam aboard the Real Dream out of St. Augustine. Those guys are going to have sushi coming out of their ears, man. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Amazing.
Now,
Nice.
Staying offshore, guys, just a real quick mahi report. It's been a great mixed bag of mahi and tuna and sailfish out there on the troll offshore this past week. Seems as though the mahi might be thinning out just a little bit, but there's still some good numbers of fish around. There's even a few big blue marlins that are being caught in the spread offshore the last couple of weeks. Look for those typical weed lines, any kind of floating debris, that kind of stuff, from about 150 feet on out, and you're probably going to find some of those mahis hanging. Now, moving inshore, the redfish bite has been great this spring, and that great bite continues this week throughout the region. We have a low tide first thing in the morning this weekend. That's going to be a great time to get out and find some shallow water redfish doing what they do this time of year, which is chasing small shrimp and little mud minnows and mullet up in the super skinny stuff. Now, my go-to for that kind of thing is always going to be that Saltwater Assassin Elite Shiner. I like to rig it on a Saltwater Assassin weedless hook. You can use the weighted one if you want a little extra casting distance. Now, that's something you can present with just a little bit of splash and not spook the fish. And I say that all the time, but that's really important for those fish. Of course, we're heading into what I like to call cut mullet season. Water's getting murky, so if you're not tossing a lure isn't your thing, bust out the cast net, cut up some mullet, rig it on a circle hook, and let the redfish sniff it out. And I've got a photo here. This is my man Michael Wiley with a nice upper slot fish that he caught on a paddle tail. Michael, he's out there fishing a lot. He said the creek bite on low water has been awesome. He's just fishing oyster bars and those creek holes that I talk about all the time.
He looks so happy, Tommy.
I know, he looks like he's mean mugging, but he's
That's
a
his
good
happy
dude. He's a
face.
happy guy. So I know he's happy.
I love it.
Now, moving on to flounder. The flounder bite has been consistent the past couple of weeks. Not a bunch of really giant flounders around, but plenty of what we call slot-sized fish to be had. The docks around downtown St. Augustine have been a really good bet. The docks and the riprap, any kind of really structure around Mayport has also been a hot spot for the flounder. They're in the creek holes at low tide throughout the region as well. Mud minnows or finger mullet, they're going to be the baits of choice, but we've been catching a bunch on that Gulp Nemesis prawn. Thing's been on fire, man. I really like that lure. And I've got one last picture here, guys. This is Colin with a nice flatty that he caught with me recently while we were doing that creek hole fishing at low tide.
All right, man. Thank you so much, Tommy. You did a great job. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the strike zone hotspots from the Northeast region. Tommy says inshore, redfish and flounder in the creek holes at low tide throughout the entire region. And then offshore, the blackfin tunas and the mahis at the ledge. Also, be on the lookout for some sailfish and marlin chasing those little mahis around closer to the other side.
It's just a dream, Rick. Just a dream.
Just go fishing,
Just
man.
go
Just
fishing.
go fishing.
All right, anglers, get ready for the Old School Kingfish Shootout on June 14th in St. Augustine. This family-friendly tournament has a unique format with limited boundaries, no bait penning or buying, and no checkout. The grand prize is a 21-foot Yellowfin bay boat with a 200 HP Yamaha and a Ameritrail trailer, valued at $125,000, and the early entry fee is only $250 through May 31st. For more details, visit oldschoolkingfish.com. All right, guys, if you're cruising around Florida, do it with a cause and rock the Conserve Florida's Fisheries license plate. Your $25 goes straight to supporting clean water, restoring habitats, protecting marine life, and teaching folks about our coastal environment. Get yours at your local DMV or online at redfishtag.com.
I got mine. You got yours?
I have mine too.
Anybody else got some?
Anybody got? Oh, one.
Oh,
That's
my
okay.
God!
Everyone
Look
needs
at how
one.
many people
Our
have
Startron
redfish
Central West,
tags.
Phillips and Jordan Southwest regions are on the troll coming right up. Plus, we're chatting with our special guest who is sharing his incredible survival story with us. So stay tuned. And remember, if you're hooked on fishing in Florida, then don't miss a thing and swing by our website, smash that like button on Facebook, reel us in on X and Instagram, and cast on over to our YouTube channel, Captain Rick Murphy, for fresh fishing adventures, reports, and more. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Startron. Start, run, and store with Startron. Berkeley, your fish, our science. CCA Florida, conserving Florida's fisheries since 1985. Frontrunner Boatworks, performance-built offshore fishing boats made in the USA. The Florida Keys and Key West, come as you are. Murphy's Law Sport Fishing. Book your trip today at murphyslawsportfishing.com. And Strike Zone Fishing.
Well, as you can see, joining me is my buddy Easton. You know, Easton, you were a victim of having essentially a boat accident. So why don't we just tell everybody a little bit about your story?
Well, so we left out early that morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. We was headed south off of Mississippi. We was headed 40 miles out. And we got to a structure that we was going to check out. And we backed the boat down off the plane. And when we did that, we turned around. We lost the power of the motor. So when we turned around, we noticed that half the motors were already underwater.
Whoa.
So that case and that part, we tried to get the center console open of the boat where the fillers were, and we couldn't get it open.
It's full of water.
The boat's full of water, compression and everything. So we went to the bow of the boat and started getting the life jackets out. Once we get the life jackets out, the boat was completely gone in 45 seconds to a minute, completely gone.
Wow.
But the night before, one of the guys on the boat, his girlfriend actually put a PLB, a personal locating beacon, in our bag, in a yellow bag that we had on the center console. So Connor grabbed that and set it off, and we were just out there in the middle of the water just floating.
Let's take a look at that picture. There's a picture here with Connor in his hand setting it off.
Yep.
So after that, what happened?
So after that, we're just floating around out there for 4.5 hours, just in the middle of nowhere, just hoping that the Coast Guard's going to hurry up and get there. And they finally got there. After a couple hours, they got there.
Didn't you do a video?
Yeah, I did a video, and what the reason for the video was is I didn't know if I was ever going to be found,
right,
or if I was ever going to go home. So my goal was to take a video, put it in one of the coolers, and set the coolers off. And when somebody found the cooler, they see the phone in there, plug it in, and it's going to send the video to my mom. So I had a little plan.
So let me ask you. Did you have a cell phone and have a SOS feature?
Yeah, my cell phone has the SOS feature. It's the newer phones, but it didn't work for me. I tried calling everybody. I even tried text messaging people. I've called anybody and everybody, and it wouldn't go through.
So you put your phone in the Yeti, and thinking that that's the end of the deal.
I thought that was my last day to ever see anybody.
So How long were you in the water?
4.5 hours to 5.
And then the Coast Guard rescued you.
Yes, sir. That was like winning the life lottery right there. But seeing them, when the Coast Guard came in, we was all crying. We was so tearful. I mean, like so happy that they was finally there. Then once we got back on the Coast Guard boat, I just made another short little video. I only had 10% battery left at that time. And so when that part happened, man, we just all sat on the boat, and it was the quietest moment in our life. Like we defeated this. We came out great.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to somebody if you were gonna, here you are, you're not a professional fisherman,
Absolutely
you're a weekend warrior just like everybody.
Yep.
So what advice would you give them?
I would definitely invest in an EPIRB or a personal locating beacon, definitely. If you're gonna be on the water, because you can take that anywhere you want to.
Yeah.
Fishing, hunting, hiking, anything. And you can travel with them, you can fly with them. So I fly with mine every time.
So if guys got a question about it, where do they go? ACR?
ACR electronics.com.
Yeah. Hey, you
Thank
did
you.
it. You got through it. Good
Hey,
job, buddy.
Thank you.
Wow.
All right, man.
Amazing.
Where are we going, Bree, before I lose it?
I've got goosebumps over here. I'm sure you do too, Rick. If catching tuna is part of your weekend plan in the Startron Central West region, we're keying in on the birds plus a few other things Captain Jeff Page will fill you in on. Go for it, Page.
You're exactly right on that, Miss Bree. The birds are probably your number one thing you want to be looking for. And right now, through midsummer, even late summer sometimes, is a good time in my region to catch them. Anywhere from 50, 60 feet on out to 200 feet. It's a morning and evening game if you really want the action. That's not to say that you can't catch them in the middle of the day, but Captain Chris Seeger says best time to get blackfin tuna, early morning, late in the evening. You're going to find the action. You're going to find the fish up on top, feeding on bait, feeding underneath the birds. And then you can throw just about any live bait at them, free lines, or you control lips, plugs, or feathers in and around the area, also on the hard bottom area as well. I had a photo tonight of a couple happy clients with the Flying Hawaiian, Kalen O'Lair, out of Stump Pass Marina with a couple nice blackfin tunas.
Nice.
All right, permit fishing. I got to barely mention it last week, but it still remains really good, Rick. Lots of fish are coming in from 30 to 50 feet of water, and that's that 3 to 5 to 7 mile artificial reef area, which we have a lot of artificial reefs, Venice, all the way up to St. Pete, and pretty much it's a process of elimination. Go to them, give them each 10, 20 minutes. If not, move to the next one. And this week is a good week to get all the permit crabs you need because we've got the big high outgoing hill tides in the afternoon. You can dip 50 crabs in about an hour. So it's a good thing. Have you a little floating cage back at your dock or in a friend's dock? Go dip you some crabs, put them in the cage for the next day permit fishing. I've got a really nice photo tonight with a couple nice permits with Captain Billy Alstrom of Suncoast Fishing Charters. Moving inshore, tarpon with this big outgoing tide I just mentioned about the crab flush. It's going to be epic all week. I think it's already really got going. The afternoon outgoing tide, get there a little early, and it can be in any of our inlets from Boca Grande Pass all the way to Egmont. And get there a little early and dip you a couple dozen crabs. For the tarpon, you're going to want them a little bit bigger. And then just get out on that outside of that backside sandbar from Boca Grande Pass to Egmont Pass. Pick your pass. Some are better than others. Big Pass in Sarasota is real good. And then Anna Maria, and then, of course, Egmont Pass. And just anchor up or spot lock up with your trolling motor and just float the crabs right out the back of your boat. And it gets a little hectic sometimes with all the boats there, but you're going to catch good fish. Got a photo tonight, nice Boca Grande tarpon caught with Captain Jeff Watkins of Southern Tail Charters. And my last species, Rick, you know, with all the talk about the tarpon and snook, the redfish bite's been pretty good and overlooked. And these high tides, fish are up under the mangroves, they're up on the oyster bars, Long Bar, Terracea, Palmasola Bay, and you can throw free line baits or cork baits. Pilchards, pinfish work good, cut chunks of ladyfish, and it's tough to beat a 1/4 ounce Johnson spoon or the new penny turbo gulp shrimp, which is a new body of the shrimp series in the 3 and 4 inch. And I like it in that new penny pattern on a 1/4 ounce jig head. My last photo tonight, that's Jake Glunk, owner of Glunkum Lures with a nice Sarasota Bay redfish.
Paige, I got a question for you. You know, all of the guys go tarpon fishing this time of year. You typically fish tarpon, you take the prime time. What do you usually do after about 10 o'clock, Bub?
I go inside and go catch me a couple snook and redfish and try and get home by 1, 2 o'clock and eat nice lunch and take it easy.
And do headstands on the boat.
And don't you still do your headstands there, Cap Paige?
Oh yeah, I can still do a headstand, but that's, on request only.
Well, now it's going to be every trip.
All right, well, I hope we can get you in the studio soon, and maybe we can get you to do one of those live. Give Lady Di our love here from the studio, and we will talk to you next week. It's time for the Daiquiri Deck. Hotspots from the Startron Central West region. Captain Page says, inshore fished afternoon hill tides with cork crabs in Boca Grande Pass, Big Pass, and Egmont Pass for good tarpon action. And then offshore, red groupers, lots of quality groupers holding on the smaller areas of the hard bottom in 110 to 150 feet of water off Stump Pass in North Anna Maria. You know, Bree, it's gonna be warm this weekend.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for everybody to understand that it's gonna be warm and calm. We're gonna have great fishing.
Finally.
Make sure you hydrate. Don't forget to take lots of water. Guys, I'm guilty of this myself. Coke Zero ain't gonna hydrate you. Guess what? Tea is not gonna hydrate you. Drink it to water or drink it to Gatorade.
Or the Pedialyte.
Or the Pedialyte.
I love some Pedialyte. All right, now let's see what the Phillips and Jordan
boy.
Southwest region. Don't bum Pedialyte, okay? It's producing for our weekend ahead with Captain Ronnie Houston. Stay hydrated, folks. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Well, like always, guys, it's a pleasure being here. You know, the best time to fish for for tuna in the Phillips and Jordan Southwest region actually would be late October through February. Now, I'm going to give you a couple of the simplest ways to target them. And one of them would be is getting out to the shrimp boats. That's one way to target them, pretty simple. Or you can actually make a long run towards the Tortugas or Fort Jefferson out of my region. But looking for our scattered weed lines along with bait and birds is a good combination to find these fish. But you know what? Also, a lot of times these tuna are mixed in with the bonita schools. The only problem with that's going to be is you're going to catch more bonita than tuna, but you'll have your opportunity while fishing the bonita schools. Now, when you find them, they're most likely to eat anything from poppers, swim baits. You know, you find them, get in the area, trolling skirts in here as well. Also trolling big lip plugs, and always a variety of live baits will catch them. And I've got a picture here of Captain Davis Olson and crew with plenty of tuna being caught in one of the ways I mentioned. Second species is going to be the cobias. You know, there's plenty of opportunity right now throughout the whole region to fish, most noted wrecks and artificial reefs. The simplest way to try to catch these fish is obviously getting out there, being out there first, and hopefully catching these fish on top. But if you don't see them on top, like Jeff was saying, the run and gun pattern, you want to get up in some of these artificial wrecks and reefs and just simply anchor up or use your spot lock on the trolling motor. Now, a variety of baits are going to catch these fish. You can get out in some of these areas and just simply chum live pilchard to draw the fish up to the top. Live herring will also work, live pinfish and live pilchards. But if they're on top, swim baits like the Bass Assassin Artemis Shad will work. Bright colored poppers, fan casted over these areas will draw these fish up to the top and they will hit the poppers. But also, sight casting these fish with a variety of bright colored bucktails will also work. And I've got a recent picture with On a Mission Fishing out of Naples, working one of those patterns this week with a nice cobia at the boat.
Nice, Ronnie.
Short side, the tarpon. Now, at the northern end of the region right now, there's plenty of tarpon right now arriving along the passes anywhere from Fort Myers Beach all the way up to Boca Grande, anywhere from the beach line, the passes, and out to 20 feet. If the wind picks up, you get that sea breeze, you can't be out there, get on the inside and hit the edges of the west and east wall. There's also some fish on the lower stages of the tide in the Rocky Channel area. Now, at the southern end of the region, Marco to Fort Myers Beach, especially if the wind is calm, possibly coming out of the east, right now from Indian Key to Marco, you want to concentrate on those outer Gulf edges and the passes at lower water. Key baits you're going to use to catch these fish are going to be live crabs, whether they be free lined or under a cork. Live pinfish is always a good bet. Also live herring, but then also on the artificial side, you can use swim baits like the Berkeley swim baits or plugs like the Berkeley Magic Swimmers, and the large Berkeley stick shads in pilchard color are also working. I've got a picture of a nice tarpon release while fishing to the north with Captain Danny Latham. Last species is going to be the redfish. Now, there's really good redfish action to the south right now from Coon Key to Lostman's River. Even though the water is clean in some of the areas, concentrate on some of those areas that are a little bit dingy and have roaming mullet. They're producing better numbers, and especially on the lower water. Now, you can also work the outer edges on that lower water with half-ounce Johnson Gold spoons or Berkeley J Walkers. I prefer the colors of bone or chrome. Quarter-ounce jig heads with Berkeley Gold shrimps, and the new Berkeley Turbo Shad and the Flamingo Chrome will also be working. But you know what? Probably the easiest way if you're a bait guy. Old school cut shrimp and filters on knocker rigs are really catching numbers due to the scent. Once you catch one, be prepared, have a couple rods out. They'll be coming one after another. You'll be drawn to that scent. And I have a nice picture of a redfish release recently. And if you look at the water, it's dingy. And Captain Derek Daffin's getting the job done down there in the Everglades.
All right, Ronnie, thank you for all the pictures. Looks like a beautiful day when you caught that redfish. Thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Southwest region. Ronnie says inshore snook nighttime at the intercoastal docks and bridge spans. From Marco to Fort Myers Beach, use live shrimps, pinfish, and a variety of 3 to 5 inch paddle tails. And then offshore, permit on the artificial reefs and wrecks using live crabs, bucktails, and live hand-picked shrimp. You know what a hand-picked shrimp is, Bree? Nope. That's when you go in and you scoop up one with your net, scoop up a whole bunch of them in your net, and you hand pick the size that you want.
That's what I just did.
No, you went in there like you were at the sales rack in Target.
Well, do what you know. I'm still picking the best clothing out of the sales rack.
All right, I'll let you have it.
The best shrimp too.
Excuse me.
I'm just a little bit dramatic about it, that's all. And for next week, plan to head on over to the Economy Tackle on May 22nd for a meet and greet with the Director and Brand Development Manager for all Penn products. Captain Jeff Page and Ronnie Houston will be there, plus there will be lots of giveaways, including limited amounts of Penn combos, rods and reels, and Savage and Berkeley baits. So stop on by from 4 to 7. It's going to be a party. All right, we're checking in with our Northwest Region Captain, Jeff Hageman, when we come back, so make sure you stay hooked. But before we go, we want you to head to our website and check out our live studio audience dates coming up this season. Our next one is the Kids Show on June 18th. So get signed up and come hang with us on set for filming, fishing, fun, and giveaways. We hope to see you soon. We'll be right back.
The Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Casa Vieja Lodge, 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala. Fenwick, feel everything. Phillips and Jordan, building critical infrastructure that matters. Castaway Coffee, one taste and you'll be hooked. Sportsman's Adventures with Captain Rick Murphy, fishing for adventure. Berkeley Pro Spec Chrome. And Taco Marine, master the catch.
On today's Power Pole tip, we're going to take a deeper dive and look at some of the boating, navigation, and fishing apps that I like to use with the Vision. We all love satellite maps, and whether it's Bing, Google Earth, the Saltstrong map, FishBrain, or Savvy Navi, they all look different depending on the area you're fishing, and I like to choose one that's taken at low tide. With our patented Vision Enhance, I can brighten the features and saturation on that map, which shows potholes, troughs, and other areas where the fish are gonna lay up better than ever before. Some other apps I like are Windy. I can see the wind direction, how strong the wind's blowing from any direction live out on the water. I can even get radar without installing a full radar system on the boat right here from my Vision screen. To learn more about the Power Pole Vision, go to powerpole.com, and that's your Power Pole tip.
Good tip.
Bree, we could order Uber Eats from the Vision and have it delivered so that when we got done with this, we could feed all the live audience. What do you think? We could order a bunch of pizza for everybody.
What a life we have, right?
I think we should do it.
I think we should try.
All right.
All right, we're seeing black and yellow in the Northwest region, so let's see what tips Captain Jeff Hageman has for us to get him in the boat. Wrap us up, Hag.
Tuna right now is the best time to go get them. The summer months are probably the easiest months to go out there and catch them. Fish from anywhere from 80 feet of water on out. Look for birds and bait, especially those frigate birds.
A lot of fish can be caught right now behind the shrimp boats when they're done with their hauls at night and they're unloading their bycatch first thing in the morning. They'll have them chummed up behind the back of the boat, but you're going to have to weed through some bonita and sharks to get to those blackfins when you're fishing on the shrimp boats. High relief structures will also hold them. Sardines, thread fins are great baits. Get them fired up and free line them out the back of the boat. You can chum with those right there and get them pop and chum and get those fish fired up. As far as artificial baits go, butterfly jigs work really well. Yellowfins are a little bit further out, and usually catch them trolling naked ballyhoo, big lip plugs, cedar plugs, and tremblers. Staying offshore, the permit bite over the reefs and wrecks right now at 35 to 60 feet of water has been real good during the middle of the week. Right now, the morning traffic has been a little bit big, but you get out there early enough and you get on that bite before the fish get pushed down and pushed off the artificial reefs and wrecks, and you can still catch them. The moon's been going right now, so you can dip past crabs on the afternoon tide. Paso Grill, Blinds Pass, John's Pass will all have crabs flowing out of them in the afternoons. You want to use anywhere from 6 feet to 8 feet of 25 to 30 pound fluorocarbon leader, a 4/0 trocar hook, and you want to free line those crabs right over the reefs and wrecks. And right now, our average permit is running anywhere from 15 to 30 pounds. Moving on inshore, Captain John Lane of JB Charters out of Apalachicola reports good redfish bite right now. Top of the tide, he's using shrimp and or a small piece of fish bite on a knifer rig, catching them pretty good with both of those. Captain Crystal River reports fishing has been fantastic. Redfish are starting to school up, and the bigger ones are doing really good. Low incoming water has been the best bite, either with a 1/4 ounce spoon or a free line shrimp, or pinfish has also been working well as the tide gets up and the fish transition to the mangroves. Captain Jim Pollard out of Big Daddy Sport Fishing out of St. Pete also reporting a really good redfish bite in the lower tides right now. Captain Jim's been targeting his fish with cut pinfish. As the tide comes up, fish get a little bit more comfortable. He's been switching to live poacher and really producing a really hot bite, getting them fired up and popping on top. 4 to 6 feet of 25 pound fluorocarbon leader, 3/0 trocar circle hook, both techniques. He's been looking for those large schools of mullet on both the low tides and the higher tides as the tide gets higher, and that's where you're going to find those redfish right now. Deeper tree lines and oyster bars are his go-to right now. And I've got a lot of great redfish photos from all of our captains throughout our whole region, Apalachicola, Crystal River, and St. Pete.
Nice, Hack. Man, you're doing a good job with all these photos. Come on with it.
Yeah,
all right.
Got a great tarpon bite right now to finish things up right now. Remains strong right now. We just had that moon this week. We did have some weather. It pushed most of our fish offshore, and they've been trickling in offshore, so start looking for them around the beaches. They're trickling into the passes right now. They haven't quite gotten the backcountry yet, but look for those fish right now on the beaches. Thread fins, crabs, and pinfish. 60 pound fluorocarbon leader, a 7/0 trocar circle hook, and this is a recent photo of a fish we caught a couple days ago.
All right, so I got a question for you. In the heart of your region, where we used to fish for all the world records at Crystal River, the Discover Crystal River region, I want to ask you something. How's the fishing been so far this year?
Been good up there. Crystal Rivers, the tarpon right now are doing good. They had the same problem we did. Their fish pushed a little bit further offshore. I talked to Al the Parrot the other day. They're having a lot of shark problems right now. They've got a lot of tiger sharks and a lot of bull sharks up there in the area. So they've been dealing with that, and then right now they're pushed offshore, so they should be trickling back on the flats of Crystal River any day now.
All right, thank you so much for the report. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the Discover Crystal River hotspots. In short, he says the snook bite in the lower region on the outgoing tide use pinfish and sardines for them snookums. And then offshore, mangrove snappers in 30 to 70 feet of water on the high relief structure use a hookup and a jumbo shrimp or sardine for those baits.
Snookums. Love it. All right, our captain's jobs are done and the weekend frenzy is just about to begin, but stay with us a little longer so we can tell you what we're casting at next week on the Florida Insider Fishing Report. Look at all the people. I love it. We'll be right back. Curry Middle School. All right, next week we are talking trout, so make sure to tune in. Trout! But now it's time to Seize the Social, where we show off the big catches and all-out fishing fun from across social media, from the Panhandle to the Keys. Let's see what we caught this week.
What you catch?
Hello, gentlemen.
What you catch, Bree?
Collectively. All right, what do we got? What do we got? Okay, we're fishing. We're in a kayak. What are we doing? We're hooked up to something. We're hooked. Oh, man!
Come on.
That was a pretty close call, I'd like to say. We almost got
It's a Mako tail slap.
fish slapped. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Rick, I just don't. I think I would. I don't know what kind of
I
functions
think
would
I might
happen.
poo-poo in my pants, Bree, if that happened to me, man. I'm just gonna say it like it is. I don't like being in the water.
Those things are delicious.
And being that close to something like that would scare me to, you know.
So we're gonna go kayak fishing soon, is what you're saying?
I'd be a little scared.
Yes, you'd be scared.
I'd be a little scared.
All right. Well,
we might have to make an ACR
we should.
diaper.
A national diaper, safety diaper. Okay, maybe you reeled in a monster, wiped out on a cast, or just caught a sunset that stopped you in your tracks. We want to see it. Share your fishing or ocean clips with us, and you could be featured on Seize the Social. Make sure you scan the QR code.
Seize it.
Or send it our way through our DMs. But we want to thank our entire live studio audience, ACR for coming, Easton for sharing his story. Remember, it's National Safe Boating Week, so everybody be safe out there. And go catch some tuna, by golly gosh. We'll see you next week. Columbus Fishing Club, Curry Middle School. Love you guys. Thanks for coming out.